BulkLoads Podcast, your number one resource for everything bulk freight trucking.
Hey guys, Jared Flinn with the BulkLoads Podcast. Got Tyler with me?
What's going on?
Hey, before I forget, because I always forget, this is going to be Valentine's week.
Yep.
Don't forget, you men out there, especially listen to this podcast. I always drop the bomb or whatever.
Yep, so I'm the same way.
Prepare early.
Yep.
And if you can't do it yourself, find somebody that can help you so you don't.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't mess up. You're not in the doghouse.
Yep. My thing is, how do you get somebody something that, you know, deserves everything? It's like, it's hard to rack your brain and figure out, you know, just because I'm not like, you know, physical gifts. It's like, you know, so I think that's why men take so long, is because like it's always contemplating on what to get.
Here's my idea. I hate expected gifts.
Yeah.
I don't like a holiday where, I have to give you a present.
Yep.
So what I did, I already gave my wife a gift last week.
Nice.
So it was the element of surprise. So now I'll probably maybe do like I'll handwrite her a note or something on day, but like that's the secret. It's the unexpected gifts, not the expected
gifts.
Good. So cool.
That's good.
Well, anywho, as we start off every episode, we do a truck feature. Tyler, I'll kick it over to you.
Today we have Craig DeBoer with Part-Time LLC out of Cleghorn, Iowa. He's been a member with us since last year. So he's fairly new. Sharp rig though. I mean,
yeah, Kenworth.
Yeah, good looking. Out in the field. Always love those pictures.
Where's he out of?
Iowa.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for sending that in. If you would like your truck featured, we feature one every week on our show. So send it to podcast at bulkloads.com, or if you're following us on any socials, just send it however you can and we'll get it added to our list. Love promoting these trucks out there. And we consider it an honor.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, we'll jump right into it. Today, I'm going to bring in, if you saw the subject line, I'm going to bring in Nathan Faleide. He is with Ag Uncensored. And actually, I found this guy through LinkedIn. I shouldn't say found him. I saw a post that I think somebody reshared or liked. And I'll say this, like, we're in the era of, is it memes or GIFs? Of like, now people communicate through like images, you know, and especially humorous ones. But like behind a lot of these humorous images, there's like a point that they're trying to get across. So Nathan is with Ag Uncensored, and he actually produces a lot of these memes, I guess, is everybody say it right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, memes that are funny, but really tailored to what AgTech, or what he believes AgTech has done over the last few years.
It's an easy way to bring up, you know, topics or things that really, you know, nobody really wants to talk about, but if you can bring humor into it, catch people's attentions, you know, we always send those memes back and forth on LinkedIn, you know, with Salesforce or CRM or, you know, just.
I'm a sucker for good memes, man. You see something that's just a home run, and I have been. Some of these, sometimes I'll see one and I will like sit there, cry laughing, and I'll turn around and I'll look at it again and I'll keep crying and I'll send it to someone. And I think it's just, there's something when somebody puts a good meme together and they resonate differently with other people.
I say bring back the cat memes where it's like with the trucker hat on. That's like that was a good year for memes.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think you all will enjoy this podcast. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Nathan Faleide of Ag Uncensored. Nathan, I love your background. Like, I mean, many of these we do, especially when we do video, we have, you know, somebody's at their desk or we have a studio behind us, but you may top what I have behind me though. I love the Jeep, the shop look.
Yeah, I'm at my dad's office, which is actually just like a rented shop with an office in it. So with houses like half of our family junk and, you know, a place to tinker around and all that. But yeah, it's a little different. I like doing things in the shop. So I don't, I get tired of the office just like anybody else. And you kind of want to play around and get your hands dirty, and I'm here today, so you know you get the Jeep in the background, so it's all good.
Yeah, I love it, and I totally agree with you, especially this time of year. I think anything you can do to change up the environment and keep things going. I get, I can't stand to be cooped up inside. So I hear you there, but we connected through LinkedIn and love that you speak. You're very vocal in the AgTech space. And, we consider ourselves a little bit, I mean, we're in technology, and I consider ourselves like trucking, but also agriculture software, because we serve the bulk trucking community, but we also serve the grain, feed, fertilizer, commodity industry as well. So we deal, a lot of our big trading companies, they use our platform to help find trucks. So love your take on that and your experience. I thought that's where we would kind of really center and dive in. You put out a crazy amount of like cool memes, by the way, like visual images. And I think maybe that's what catches my simple mind, is seeing these pictures. But talk about why, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, to maybe go back a little bit, I kind of grew up in the ag tech industry before it was called that. Um, my dad started one of the first ag softwares out there, looking at satellite imagery on crops and crop health, and there's so many things you can do with it. And he kind of started it here in North America. No one else really was doing it beyond universities and testing. And so I kind of just grew up around it, just much like someone grows up on the farm around farming, or someone grows up in the trucking industry. And you just learn every little nook and cranny of the industry, whether you like it or not, too. And then I grew up on a farm, so I have a passion of all things agriculture. And from getting through all the history of things you experience, one of the things I was getting tired of um, is just the same old crap, news wise, of ag. Like, it's like the same puff pieces, and everyone just talks the same. Oh, here's this new product that came out, and it's edited perfectly, and everything's like got to be so constructed perfectly, the messaging, the media. And I just was tired of it, and I started writing. Well, and I just laid it out there because I didn't really care. I was tired of the same old process. And but with that, I decided I can't just complain to complain. I got to put some substance to it. And some of the best ways to do that is through a picture and through memes, because that's just kind of the way the culture has kind of evolved to. And I like to use comedy to make fun of the industry that I'm part of. And someone's got to do it. Someone's got to be the kind of the comedian within the sect of an industry. And I'm that guy for ag tech, kind of, because I just need to I like to speak how it actually all kind of plays together in the pros and cons. And sometimes you got to make people laugh for them to get the point. Just like any comedian out there, you look at all the comedians, they'll complain about politics or this person or that person. Sometimes that's the only way you can hear it. You can't hear it through talk radio, or you can't hear it through an article, because it's so intense. It's too intrusive. And comedy kind of brings out the subtlety of what you're talking about, and it's easier to soak in. So, in a nutshell, I was tired of the same game, and it's like, well, let's make fun of what I do. Why not?
Hi guys, Dan and Lydia here with RC Trucking Inc. and Redding Transportation LLC, coming to you today from Gridley, Kansas, to promote the BulkLoads Conference coming up on April 16th, 17th, and 18th of this year. Lydia is our new social media manager and TMS specialist. She'll be at the conference this year to try and meet as many of you as she possibly can. She'll be there to create videos, photographs, any kind of interaction we can get to help promote your business with our business on our pages and with BulkLoads. So make sure you look her up and be sure to say hi to all of us.
Hi guys, Lydia here. Like Dan said, I will be around for pictures and videos to help promote you guys along with us. So please feel free to swing in and say hi. Mac will also be there for RC. So if you have any questions about leasing or dispatching or anything like that, get with Mac. Ryan, Miranda, and Owen will also be there for Redding Transportation. So feel free to get with any of them if you have any questions about the brokerage side of things, as far as leasing trailers, trucks, anything like that goes.
As I have spoken with our carriers and customers about the conference, I've heard a lot of, I just can't get away. I get it. I have the same issue that I confront every time I need to leave the office. The good news is that the team at BulkLoads has put together a solution. There will be a special quiet area set up at the conference that will have access to Wi-Fi and electrical outlets to charge your portable devices. My team, along with many others, will have laptops, phones, and tablets at the tables during the conference to continue to conduct business as usual. It's not only allowed, but it's expected. Book a load using the BulkLoads load board on your laptop during the conference, and then have the opportunity to meet the person you were just working with. Or just ditch the laptop altogether and make the deal in person. Here's your chance to build those relationships.
So don't let that hold you back. This is a must-attend event if you are involved in the bulk freight industry in any way. Book your rooms and mark it on your calendars now.
April 16th, 17th, and 18th in Branson, Missouri, the BulkLoads Freight Conference. Don't miss it. And remember, our business is one of constant crisis, interrupted by brief periods of intense success. Stay steady, stay strong. We look forward to seeing you all there.
I think I know what you mean when you talk about how AgTech, there's kind of this, they put this nice, pretty bow and it's nice and perfect. And I don't know if that's because the industry that we're in, that, it's more mom, pop, down to earth. I grew up on a farm too, but there's like this nice, formal, polite, I don't want to say, but just a really, just a good experience. Like there's nothing, it's just that good. I'm trying to say the best word for it, but is that what you're talking about? How it like, they make it look so pretty, but it's not?
Well, I have friends that are farmers. I farmed a little myself and grew up in a rural setting, and I still live in a rural setting. The ag media, just like any other media, likes to sugarcoat it. The good old mom and pop, like you said, on the farm and working hard and all this. And all that's true to varying extents. But go to the local bar in the small town of 100 people. It's a little different experience. People are joking. People are screwing with each other. People are making fun of each other. You make fun of your neighbor for skipping his planter or getting stuck in his tractor, and you throw some swears down and you make fun and you go to the next day. Like that's part of it too. But the media doesn't want to show the other side of just humanity. I don't know.
Yeah.
Making fun of itself. Like and not taking it so serious. Like I get, you gotta work hard and make your money, but you gotta have fun too. And that's kind of why I've messaged things the way I've done, because I was just kind of tired of that. It's just the good old pat on the back, hard working rural American person, farmer, that's all great. But everyone kind of sucks at time too, and we can make fun of it. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We got to have some humility. If you can't have humility, if you can't take a little criticism, because you're not perfect, like none of us are perfect.
Right.
So why not open up the door a little bit?
I find this fascinating because, and we hear this all the time, and sometimes it's the same person, but what you're talking about farming, we hear the exact same with trucking.
Sure. Yeah.
The same issues. And again, there is a lot of farmers that do truck, and obviously trucking is a big part of farming, but like the same kind of stereotype or what it's the same thing we hear in the trucking community as a whole.
Yeah. It's so easy culturally for people to not pay attention to other things. They get kind of stuck in their way, and they see a movie or a TV show that illustrates probably a trucker. There's a few of them out there, and that's just the mantra. It just gets stuck in the head of people, just as much with farming. The American Gothic guy with a pitchfork, or we got ducks and chickens and geese and one single Holstein cow and like a few pigs. Like that's how a majority of people think of it. And you really can't change it. really, because the cultural standard has been set. But I think slowly it's getting better. Like I got little kids, and anything farm related, that's how they see it. That's how, like, TV shows and all that, that's how it's showcased. Everyone's got bib overalls on, and if you see a trucker, they got a trucker cap on, and they got maybe a skull kind of thing in their pocket, and that's how it's thought of. But I'm trying to do my part just to kind of quell that whole thought and be like, yeah, that's not how it works. And ag tech is kind of a good medium for that, because it can showcase, like, hey, this is complicated stuff. This is intense stuff. And where I've maybe done most of my, I'll call it maybe being cynical, as I call myself appropriately cynical, is there's so many that came in ag technology in the last, I'll say 15 years.
We say they that came in, who you referring to?
Just people that had no ag background.
Okay.
From investors to just, tech people to business people. And that's fine. That's good. You need outsiders to come into industry. That's a good thing. But when they came in, none of them listened to any of us that were in the industry. They all went around because they're like, well, you haven't developed this stuff in the industry, so you must not know what's going on. And that happened throughout. Like, we already had a tech side of ag. We just called it precision ag. We didn't call it ag tech.
That's right. Yeah.
And when all the businesses that were part of that, they were built from the ground up. There was no investment. Maybe some of them had an angel investor, as you would call it now, but it was just a guy with money that, he knew from his local church or someone he knew. And he's like, hey, would you want to come together and be part of this? And be like, yeah, sure, let's go for it. And then all of a sudden, overnight, it came in. I have an idea on a PowerPoint. I can raise $20 million and create whatever I want and not listen to the people that actually went through it. And that's where I kind of got tired. I was just like, well, that's bullshit. Like, that's fine that people want to build new things and they come from the outside, but at least talk to the people within and try to get an essence of what's going on. And a lot of that didn't happen. A lot of money got wasted. A lot of people, it didn't work out, and they pissed off the people that they were trying to sell to, farmers, and they get tired of it. They're like, yeah, you're building things I don't need, don't want, or I'm not paying for, because you didn't listen. You didn't ask us. You just built something. And yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. And that's how I voiced it. No one was voicing it. They were just, oh, this new group raised money, they must be amazing. Be like, no, they suck, because they didn't listen, and they're just regurgitating the same crap over and over again. They just have $20 million. Like, cool. That doesn't make it work.
I find this super fascinating, just in my now almost 20 years in the industry, and probably now 15 specifically in technology piece. I know 100% of what you're talking about and that feeling. And I was trying to pinpoint when we really saw that happening, and maybe really even just in the last 10 years more than any. I mean, I know maybe you can back up more, but there's always a why behind all this. Why? I mean, how did it switch, or why did it switch to that? Why did it switch from precision ag, which I 100% remember that, and that sounded better. It was clean. It was developed by some farmer that was doing this, and he saw that there was a problem. But versus this tech startup out of Silicon Valley or wherever, they raised $30 million and they're going to solve the problem that people didn't know that there was a problem of.
I mean, it's some will say it pinpointed when Climate got bought by Monsanto for $1 billion. It was starting before that, but yeah, there's always just a moment, some big thing happens, and then people see that, and true enough to just humanity, when you see someone make some big deal and there's a lot of money involved, usually the thing that follows are other people that want to take advantage of the situation. This is a weird kind of cross, but okay, all these fires in LA, someone's going to take advantage of it. That's just
Human nature.
someone always does. So even maybe, I'm sure there's moments in trucking that some big thing happened. They're like, "Oh, I can take advantage of this now." There's some new rule, there's some new thing, some government thing, and it just happens, and you have to fight through it. And because there's always a bunch of vultures out there that are trying to disrupt an area that they're not used to because they see money, and that's a tough thing to battle. But the people that know the industry, know the area, you just got to stick strong to it and kind of run through the gauntlet. But I wanted to speak about the gauntlet of things to run through. So I figured, why not? And no one pays me to do it anyway, so I might as well do it for free and tell the world my thoughts.
Yeah, well, people are definitely listening. Talk about the money. I mean, this ag tech that does come in, and you can talk specifically or more broadly. I mean, first off, I mean, and this is maybe Jared Flynn's perception, but it comes in, there's this crazy amount of hype, it sends shockwaves through the market, kind of runs its toll, fizzles out. We're back to something. Usually there's still an aftermath, or there's still some result of it that sometimes you can say is positive because of whatever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about what your perception of that is. And really just even in agriculture. And I think maybe you said this in the beginning, but sometimes it does feel like we're behind the 8 ball versus other industries.
Well, in ag, I mean, we have to deal with the one factor that we can't control any percent of, and that is weather. That's part of the game. When you're building software or hardware, weather doesn't matter. You can build it and sell it, and it can house within a computer in a safe environment or within a building or a machine. That's the factor. Like ag just goes in these up and down cycles, up and down. There's no like path. There's no hockey stick path in ag. That's not how it works. There's maybe a hockey stick up, and then there's a hockey stick down, and then there's another one. So much assumption was made that it can do this exponential thing, but there's limits in ag. And then I think the biggest thing that a lot of groups did coming in is they just looked at ag in a linear mode. It can just go up and up and up, and companies can buy more and more and more and afford more and more and more. And they didn't realize even the ag corporate companies, the biggest ones in the world, they go through the ups and down cycles too. It's not just this. It's not really a steady growth thing. If anything, it's these up and down cycles that slowly, just incrementally, very slowly gain into it. But it's not like tech where it's like a 45-degree angle up, and they just didn't see it. They didn't, because that's what people want. They want that quick buck. Ag, there's nothing quick about it. My dad always said ag goes in 30-year cycles. That's a long frickin' time. That's how long the tech industry in ag kind of has been around. It's been 30 years, maybe a little longer in certain areas. And we're still talking about things that were being developed in the mid 90s. Literally the same concepts, same process.
Like what?
Variable rate application of seed, fertilizer, chemical, yield monitor, using data to help on the farm, to help with even accounting or just tracking stuff. All of that was talked about 30 years ago. Nothing is new. It's easier to do it. It's easier to connect. The software's easier to use. It's more powerful. But the concepts are the same. And we still haven't perfected those concepts from 30 years ago. But people thought taking money would solve it, would leapfrog that. And that was actually never really the problem. The essence of the problem in ag is it just happens slowly, and you have weather, you have things that get in the way. It's not the top priority. The top priority, if you farm, is getting the seed in the ground, making sure it grows, making sure it produces and weeds don't get in the way. And then you combine it and you market it at a good place and make sure that the grain gets to where you need to go to so you can get the check. That's it. That's farming. And there's 100 pieces, and there's 40 different decisions on each one of those 100 pieces that you got to make. And AgTech is a few of those pieces here and there. It's not important enough necessarily. And I think that's kind of the disconnect, is people weren't connecting those things. They weren't connecting the emotion to it. Farming's emotional. It's not just a job. There's, the farm's been around for 100 years or whatever. Great grandpa done it. That's another thing people didn't think of on the tech side. Like, there's actually emotion to this. People actually are invested into it mentally. This isn't just a task to solve. There is a lot more to it. They would rather go to their kids' football game than spend time on a computer, because who cares? That's the mentality, and the tech industry doesn't get that. Typically, they don't understand that merging of history and time and grit. I don't know. It's make things fast, efficient, quick, better. Like, sometimes slow is better too. And in ag, you're used to it. So you just that's how you work. Just kind of slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. I mean, I just look at it like, this is so true. And maybe it's a moment where some of the people I've been talking to, and just over the years, because I have had those conversations with ag tech startups, and I'm not calling any specific out, but you don't hear that. What you hear are, solving the problem, raising the money, the valuation that we're going to get, how much we're worth. But you don't really you don't hear, there's not an emotion to it. It's really, what can I get? What can I get in and get back as fast as possible? And it is, and trucking is the same way, but farming, it is super emotional. I've never thought that way, but you think about these people, these generational farmers, that it's a lot more. Yeah, they want to provide for the families, and they want to get a good return, but there's so much more than that to the farm.
Yeah, there's all this weird emphasis on ROI in ag tech. Like, it's got to, return on investment. It's got to make an extra this per acre or whatever. Yes, inherently there's some truth to that. Don't get me wrong. That's like any other business. But if you can put your farmer cap on, which a lot of people just can't do because they didn't grow up around it. They don't get it.
Never experienced it.
That's fine. But okay, think of just the farm is the family. It's the same thing. They're intertwined, but they've acted as the farm is separate. It's business. And that's how some people and some farmers are that way. It is business, and it is. But most don't do it that way. Most it's intertwined. The farm is intertwined into the family. It is a cohesive unit of business family, and it's complicated. You argue with your kids, you argue with your dad, whatever. My family business, I work with my dad a lot. We argue all the time. We don't agree. Like, normal business isn't that way. Everything's family business in farming. And the thing about that, when that happens, the real value isn't necessarily the task that is made, the efficiency. Oh, I got more ROI. Yes, important. It's just saving them time, because it's family business. You want more time to not be it business. You want more time to be it family. And where tech needs to help more, and it is in various spots, is it helps with time. The farmer's time is worth the most amount of money, not every acre equals another $10 an acre for profit or something like that. Yes, important, but time is, because there's too many things to do, because you are 5 CEOs of different things on the farm. And you're just trying to not spend too much time on one thing because you always have another thing.
Yep.
And if you can do that, then you can be successful in the ag tech world. But no one wants to spend a lot of time with it either. They want the automation part of it, like auto steer and tractors drive themselves. The reason it's popular isn't because of the technology of, oh, this and this. It's because you could drive straight and your neighbors could see it and they wouldn't call you out at the coffee shop or the bar. And you weren't as tired. So when you came home, you could spend more time with your family. You could get more done. It had nothing to do with the efficiencies directly. It all had to do with the emotional things it did for the farmer. That's why. It made them not be made fun of by their friends and neighbors, and it made them have more family time and become less tired. Like the biggest tech advantage in farming ever is not GPS, it's not anything we think of it, it's air conditioning. The air conditioner in a tractor cab is the best piece of technology probably ever created because you're not dying in the sun and the heat or the cab itself. You can actually be comfortable, not dusty, full of dust, and drive a tractor. What's cooler than that?
Yeah. So fascinating. I think, yeah, we could keep going down this rabbit hole. I want to pivot and we'll kind of land on this one. You have your own podcast that you released, Ag Uncensored, correct?
Yeah, I'm kind of changing it up a little bit. I started interviewing some colleagues that I knew and important people, and then life gets in the way, and I'm trying to rehash it in a different way. But yes, short answer.
Well, I want to, and we'll put your information below so people can follow you to wherever that leads, that next piece. But I guess really talk about that because we can sit around and complain all day long about how bad the industry is. But like, I guess what are your goals and hopes, or what do you hope to accomplish with this creation of really kind of being cynical of ag tech?
I want people to get out of their comfort zone and think and just have a different reaction than they're used to. You get caught into the normal ways of your business, your job, what you're doing. And I want people to have a different concept of it, a different thought process. It doesn't matter what it really is. I mean, in trucking, I'm sure if I just put my head to it, there's probably like 20 things that I'd be like, oh, have you thought about it this way? And some people don't because they can't turn, they're too focused on one thing, or they're too focused on this part, or maybe they just don't see that part, or they don't think that way. That's okay. It's to open those little things up, just to get people to think through the aspects of what, for me, it's ag, like understanding those little things that you just don't think of, like, and why they're important. That's the basics of it. And sometimes you got to do that through controversy too. You have to do that through humor. You have to do that through being a little cynical about how the world actually works, because nothing is perfect and everything sucks half the time, but there's beauty in that too. So
yeah. Well, I am a sucker for humor, and I think that's where it caught my attention on some of those images. I'm probably just a sucker for memes. I think yesterday I sent an image of like it was like a little dachshund dog chasing a rhinoceros, and then the caption below, the dachshund's getting interviewed saying like, man, I was really drunk that day. Like, it was just like, but yeah. I think people can always, like, our culture has adapted to these shorts, memes, images, and that's kind of how we relate to serious issues by the humor that comes out of them. And I think you're really telling a beautiful story that people can relate to, and really telling a story that people don't hear about, because I think, agriculture, farming is still important, but it's still at the same principle that it was, thousands of years ago when we, the same farmer is the same farmer today. And it's really not changed. I mean, the principle of the practices are still the same.
Yeah. And I think for all the different groups that are trying to get tech into any industry, if they can't look back and see how it kind of has formed or started in some semblance, they should get the hell out of it. Because if you can't understand the history of what the industry you're trying to be in, I don't think you have a place to be in it. So if you want to get into trucking, I guess, if you can't understand kind of where it all kind of comes from, and respect that, I don't think you have a place in it. You should feel that. You should feel part of it. But I'm not like everybody either. So maybe I'm just an odd duck thinking that way.
No, I think you brought up some good points, and just it gives a whole new perspective to kind of how to think about this and this industry. So, well, cool. Well, Nathan, man, this has been an awesome conversation with you. I'll put your information links below. I know you're very vocal, especially on LinkedIn is where I follow you. So you really encourage you to check it out there. And man, appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
I enjoyed what Nathan had to say, and I want to say I wholeheartedly agree 100%, but there is something that he said about when you have kind of non-ag people getting into ag or ag tech, thinking that they can change or disrupt it, but you have the normal flows of agriculture and farming. You have and there's conditions that, and we know this in farming, that you can't control the weather and patterns like that. So you see these seasonal ups and downs, and sometimes, and there can be a little influence, but like we said, there's just the normal progressions of farming that will probably never change. And I think people have to realize that. Yeah,
there's a lot of outside factors that you can't control with it. But I think we see a lot of these, like it was mentioned in the episode, these tech companies coming in and trying to solve a problem that people didn't even know they had, or that there was, an issue with. And I think we're seeing now in modern times that a lot of these Silicon Valley companies and stuff, I think they're, pumping the brakes on investing in ag tech and agriculture tech, is because just the track record of these companies coming in, trying to, put millions of dollars in, and it never become profitable, because at the end of the day, if you can't help the farmer save time or be efficient, and especially the small guys, then the product isn't going to be successful. Yeah,
I can go on and on. Just even the last 12 years that I've been involved specifically in BulkLoads, some of the companies that have come in and kind of touched in our space, but wanting to disrupt agriculture, and some of those aren't around anymore. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. So, but cool. Well, Nathan, thanks for coming on. A couple of things before we close out of here. It is getting close to the Bulk Freight Conference. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing us say this, but we are super excited as it gets closer. And as we put this together and have these speakers lined up in the agenda, I am getting excited. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. I do want to mention here, March 21st is actually the deadline to book hotels. Okay. So really in the next month. Right. The hotel connected to the convention center is pretty much all filled up. There might be 1 or 2 rooms left. We do have another hotel with a block that has some availability, but you want to make sure to book those rooms now. I would even book your rooms and then buy the ticket, just so you make sure to get a room there. You can go to bulkfreightconference.com. The hotel link is on there. You can click it. It'll take you directly to our room blocks there, and then you can also get your tickets on there as well. We got great speakers. Jesse Bounds, he's coming. We have some great panelists. We have good entertainment, so you're going to be excited. I was talking with a gentleman actually yesterday, and he was like, well, because it does fall on Easter weekend. But he was like, I'm not, we're really involved with our church, and we got, a big service. I'm like, the service is on Sunday. We'll get you out of by Friday, and you'll have plenty of time. And he was like 7 hours away. So I was like, trust me, you can make it, and we don't ever want to impede on church and Sunday. So trust me, I know it falls on that, but we'll get you out on time. If you need a little leave early, that's totally fine with us. It was the best dates that we could get this secured, and we're always trying to do our best job to fit it in. We know it doesn't work, but make sure, look at it. You won't regret it. It'll probably be, I can guarantee you, one of the top 5 highlights of your year. So go to bulkfreightconference.com, get your tickets, get your hotels, and we will see you here in a couple months. We have the agenda on there. So if you're wondering what am I going to get out of this? What's the content that's going to be discussed? You can view it all there. If you have any questions, of course, comment down below, or send any questions to conference@bulkloads.com, or call us. We'd love to talk with you about it and just get you there. It'll be worth it. Yeah. Awesome. I've been traveling a lot, and my calendar keeps filling up. Love being on the road. It's something that I really enjoy, and it's just been a blessing that I can leave. We have guys here that can hold the fort down, and allows me to go out and see customers that sometimes I haven't done, I have done business with for over the years and never met until now. But we've been doing these featured videos. Joe's been doing a heck of a great job getting these put pushed out of there. We want to feature more. I know I think we're getting pretty filled up. I think we have 8 to 10 already lined up this year. But if you would like us to come out and feature you, I'll say this, a couple quick things. Again, we do it no cost to you. We spend the time travel, editing, all that, because we get to share that with our audience. So it's a win-win. The win for you is it gives you exposure out there, gets companies to see who you are. And I tell you, like a lot of times, and we've said this before, even your customers are watching this, and you wouldn't believe how many people reach out that see you online. It's just, again, I'm an old-fashioned guy, but we know that video is the future in social media, and we want to showcase you out there along with us. So reach out to us. Isn't there a form?
Yep, you can go down the description below. You'll see it. It's
we'll put that in the description box
fill
below.
and shoot form. You fill out just about your company. We'll come out and highlight you. I want to mention another thing too. Is I know a lot of the bigger trucking companies have websites. Some of the smaller owner operators don't. But whenever we do these film features, we will send you the video so you can display and embed it in your website. So whenever people are visiting, they see all about your company, what you guys offer, who you're about, everything like that. I think if you were to hire somebody today, it'd probably cost about $5,000 to come out and do. Like you said, we'll come out and do it for free. It works. We get benefit out of it too, to share it with our audience. So just let us know if you'd like us to come out, and we'd love to do it.
Yeah, sign up form will be below. Hopefully we can get you in this year, but go ahead and sign up. And if not, we'll do it next year as well as it fills up. BarnTalk podcast was a success. And it looked like we have had a lot of people reach out. Thank you for watching that. If you haven't yet, we'll put that link down below. But BarnTalk, I got featured on their podcast last week, and just got to give a little backstory about myself and kind of how we got started and in humble beginnings. So, man, thank you for watching that. But yeah, if you want to still watch that, go to BarnTalk.com. As always, we close out in prayer. If you have a prayer request, simply send it to prayer@BulkLoads.com. We have a team of individuals here that it's all confidential, but we want to pray over anything that you have going on in life. I always say this, we always talk about the struggles. If you have praises, we want to see that too. So if you new baby, new marriage, grandchildren, business is good, anything, we'd like to hear the praises too. So, but we also want to pray for the needs that are out there as well. So with that said, I will close us out in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this year, this 2025, Lord, as we get going through there, Lord. Let's just keep a reminder of you, Lord, that you have things in control. Lord, we pray over this community. We pray over our ag professionals, our farmers, truckers, businessmen, agribusinessmen, Lord, that we can serve you and these people in this great nation. Lord, we pray over our leaders of this country, Lord, that we pray that your hand be upon them in the decisions that they make for protecting us and serving the needs of the great state of the United States. Heavenly Father, again, we know that this is February or Valentine's Day week, Lord, and we just pray for those out there and those loved ones, Lord, that you can be with them, and Lord, that your love is greater than all that we can ever imagine. In your heavenly and precious name, amen. Thank you as always for listening to the BulkLoads Podcast. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss an episode. And if you know someone that can benefit it, one thank you that you can do for us for producing this content is simply share it out there. Thank you as always. Happy Valentine's Day, and God bless.